All right, this is the second of your two African civilization PowerPoints. We're going to finish the rest of the civilizations in your passport in this PowerPoint. So, Islam, as well as Christianity, has had a strong impact throughout the continent of Africa. And after Muhammad died in 632 CE, Islam swept across North Africa, and we talked about how it was stopped in Europe at the Battle of Tours. There was a combination of converts who were converted because they wanted to be, and some who were converted by the sword. With the spread of the religion of Islam also came the spread of Islamic laws called Sharia. And two Islamic states united under Muslim control to control most of North Africa, the Almoravids and the Almohads. And we'll look at the map of them next. So, all across this area called the Maghreb and the rest of North Africa, we find these powerful Muslim empires. Uh, Prior to the spread of Islam, an ethnic group called the Berbers had started to make regular trips back and forth across the Sahara using camels, and they started the trans Saharan trade. This is difficult territory to navigate, and they had the skills and the knowledge to safely cross the desert. The most important trade across the Sahara was gold and salt. So, until about 1350, the vast majority of the world's gold came from one relatively small area in West Africa, and we'll look at the map together in a second. Along with gold, salt, which was just as valuable as gold at the time, was carried back and forth across the Sahara. And we're going to look at three different kingdoms that became powerful because of the gold and salt trade. So, this part of the world right here is what we're talking about, where this gold and salt was coming from, and then it was being taken via these trade routes up to the Mediterranean and then going to all sorts of places. The first of the kingdoms in West Africa that became powerful because of the gold and salt trade was Ghana. Ghana became very powerful by about 800. This is when the Europeans are in their dark ages, and the Islamic empires are doing their thing in the Middle East. The Mayans are doing their thing in the Americas at this time. The king controlled the price of gold by hoarding it. He kept lots of gold in his palace. He would sell very little of it. That kept the price of gold high. The king had total power as military commander. He was the head judge. He was the political leader. And eventually, the kings of Ghana converted to Islam, which led to the founding of schools, which led to an increase in literacy. More people learned how to read. And when people in a society learn how to read, life in that society gets better almost all the time. All the times that I can think of. But in 1076, the Almoravids, those people in North Africa that we just looked at, conquered Ghana and disrupted the gold and salt trade, and Ghana never regained its power after that. So let's make a passport page for Ghana, add it to the map, and pause the video here to fill in the rest of the information. Our next empire is Mali. In 1235, Mali emerged as a powerful trading state. The first great leader of Mali was a guy named Sunjata, who conquered the lands of Ghana and then expanded that territory and reestablished the gold salt trade that had been disrupted by the Almoravids some time before. Sunjata died in 1255. Let's add Mali to your map on a page of its own. And we'll finish our notes and then pause the video to fill out the rest of the passport page. The most famous Muslim ruler of Mali was a guy named Mansa Musa. He was the grandnephew of Sunjata, and he's best known because when he went on Hajj, remember the pilgrimage to Mecca, he gave away gold. He gave away so much gold on his journey that the whole worldwide price of gold fell because so much more of it was available all of a sudden. He ordered mosques to be built when he came back, and one of the major cities in Mali, Timbuktu, became a center of learning. People came there from all over the place to come study and share knowledge. It was a great intellectual center. The empire declined, though, after his death. This map shows his path literally lined in gold because he gave out so much gold as he went. Okay, let's pause and finish your passport before we move on to our last empire, Songhai. So after Mali declined, a part of it broke away and established a new kingdom called Songhai. In 1468, so like just before the conquistadors are coming to the Americas and destroying the Aztecs and the Incas, a Muslim leader named Sunni Ali captured the city of Timbuktu and then created some political alliances by marrying the queen of a nearby city. This helped to grow the empire. And everything was doing great until they were conquered by a Moroccan force from North Africa in 1591. So let's create a page in your passport for Songhai, put them on the map, see how they've continued to expand the territory. The Moroccans were from right up here, north of the Sahara. Okay. Pause for a moment and finish your passport page on Mali. And we have one more place to add to your passport, and then we'll be done with that. So, along the east coast of Africa, there were many small villages that started to grow up into trading centers. Because they were very close to the Arabian Peninsula, where most people spoke Arabic, the Arabic language began to combine with the Bantu language, and the new language of Swahili was born, and this is a commonly spoken language in this part of the world still today. People came to trade along the coast of Africa as far away as China and India. They took goods from the interior part of Africa. Somebody would travel out to the coast, sell them to somebody who would sell them to somebody who was heading to China or elsewhere, and then they'd buy new stuff and take them back to their villages and so on and so forth. You can see here all of these trade routes taking things down the coast and out. Hey, remember the Indian monsoons? There are monsoon arrows. Okay. The last place we're going to put on your map, in your passport rather, is Great Zimbabwe. Great Zimbabwe, we'll look at the map in a second. It was located in the southern part of Africa in an area between the Limpopo and Zambezi rivers. And it became an important trading center. It linked the inland part of Africa with the coastal cities. It flourished, but for a very short amount of time, and it was abandoned by about 1450. But the ruins here that we see below are the center of Great Zimbabwe. And this is what you should draw for your picture for Great Zimbabwe when you add it to your passport. Here's Zimbabwe. Let's put that on your map. Finish filling in your passport pages. Use the rest of your time in class to finish filling out your passport. And perhaps if there's time, you'll be able to watch student news. Thanks for your patience today doing this work through the video, and I hope you have a good day.